So this might be a stretch for some people, and some of you are going to be like, "This, she's officially lost her mind." But I want to take the idea of ourselves and compare ourselves to a cup of coffee. Hear me out. Listen, it's Liz here, and I love a good cup of coffee. Does a good cup of coffee happen every day? No. Which is what kind of got me onto this tangent, this idea. And I've been fighting with my coffee maker myself for the last little bit, and I think that is where this all comes from. We recently just went to Atlanta, and when I went to Atlanta, I was like, okay, I'm going to deep clean my house before I leave because that's what people do. And I took the time to really clean my coffee maker. She was spotless. And I make my own coffee on a very regular basis. So this thing is I'm constantly brewing entire pots of coffee, or I'm using the K-cup part of it. It's fantastic. It's a godsend. It's what I do. So tell me how I go to make my one final pot before I leave for this trip. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening and I'm like, wow, it's been brewing for a really long time. I don't remember any other time being like this. And then I smell the burnt coffee and I thought, something's not right. I walk over to the kitchen and I didn't put the actual coffee pot all the way into the machine. So the coffee wasn't brewing anywhere, and it ultimately brewed inside of itself. And at first I didn't realize how bad of a job it was until I noticed the second time when I tried to make another pot, when I realized my mistake, that the coffee grounds were just totally all over the inside of the coffee machine. It would have been a whole process to clean it out and to get it ready, and I ignored it until I came back from vacation. I was like, what a joke. I took the time to deep clean this thing, and now it's not even clean when I leave, blah, blah, blah. Tell me how I come back, and I go to make a pot of coffee, and I realize, I think I'm going to have to hose this out and put it in the sink, deep clean it, that I go to pick it up. Do I not drop the entire coffee machine? K-cup has full of water. All of the loose grounds come popping out of the coffee pot side, and I drop it. I don't cry. Mind you, I'm still shocked by that. I do not cry, but it sounds like I've fallen through the floor. My husband was like, what happened? Are you okay? You didn't make any noise. You didn't scream. You didn't ask for help. But it looked terrible. My whole kitchen floor was covered in water and coffee grounds. But I took the time to clean it up. And I did it because why? My coffee is worth it. My coffee is worth the process. And this is what kind of got me going. I was like, what am I going to talk about? And I was thinking about coffee. And as I was driving, thinking of this idea, I realized that the coffee I had made for that morning wasn't very good. It wasn't. It was stronger. I probably should have used a little bit more creamer. I don't know exactly what I did wrong, but I did something wrong. And I thought to myself, well, it's not going to stop me from making another cup of coffee tomorrow. And it's not going to stop me from getting myself a little treat next week. This is just one of those situations where I'm going to move past it, get better at it, and continue on. And how come most of us are better about giving our coffee the grace that it deserves? And we can't do that with ourselves. Now, I know, I told you this was going to be a stretch, a deep dive. For some of you, you're like, come on. But if you are a coffee drinker, you understand that there is a perfect color to the way that you prefer your coffee. Some of you like it black. Some of you want it basically being chocolate milk. However your preference is, we all have it. And I can tell just from the color that if a barista gives me a coffee and the color doesn't look right, I'm not going to like it. But am I going to chuck it and throw it out and start over again? Some of you will. Some of you may. But I wouldn't do that. I would just be like, it tried its best today. It's still going to do its purpose. It's going to do the purpose of waking me up in the morning. It's going to do the purpose of something for me to focus in on and whatever. It just isn't always a 10 out of 10. Now, how come I can mentally let that be the case with coffee and not myself? Because this podcast, for example, I sat there and in the beginning I was so stressed about where I was going to be sitting and what chair I was going to sit on and where I was going to film it and if I was going to do my makeup that day or brush my hair or whatever it was. And in reality, I could sit down on this day. I don't even have to film myself, but I do. I could sit down at any point and just yap myself through an episode. And if people listen to it, awesome. If they don't, they don't. And then guess what? There's another episode to have it done. There's another chance to do it again. And that's what coffee basically is. And it was like the more I thought about it, and maybe I was bored in the car, and that was part of like the whole idea. But I kept thinking to myself, coffee for me has never been a thing where like I worry about it too much. I started making my own coffee because of COVID, and I remember realizing, number one, how much money I was spending on coffee out, but also I was like, it's really not that hard to make a coffee that I enjoy. Like, I'm pretty basic. And so now when I do go get my coffee out and about, like at a barista or the drive-thru or whatever, it's a treat. I love when I can have like the best little treat that is like a specialty iced coffee or a latte or a chai or whatever it is. And it's funny because in other aspects of my life, if they had failed me, like a coffee can easily fail me, I probably would have given up on it. And isn't that crazy that we can give something so much slack or like so much space to have improvement, need improvement? You know, some people have a really terrible cup of coffee in the morning, so they have to make up with it with a really great one in the afternoon. Or I think like today even, I had to drive out to Syracuse today, and I was like all excited to make myself a little iced coffee, and it was terrible. I was sipping it and I was like, this is so bad. Did I stop? No. Did I sit there and cry about it? No. Did I lose my ability to even? No. I just continued on sipping on the terrible coffee because it was okay enough. And guess what? Tomorrow morning when I make my coffee, I'll know what to do. I'll be good to go and it will be perfect. And I think if we were to be able to do that for other aspects of our lives, we would be better off. Like my husband's kind of one of those people who like, if he doesn't know how to do it, he doesn't want to try because he doesn't want to fail. Or like if he can't do it perfect, he's going to try to get somebody who's better at it or more knowledgeable to be there with him to try. Versus like I'm a person that will be like, I'm not going to watch the tutorial. I'm not going to look at the written instructions. I'm just going to put myself into it. And if I mess it up, I mess it up. And sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. And I feel like it does for both sides. But like, why am I so willing to put in all this effort? Like my coffee machine was an absolute mess nightmare, and I could have just given up. I would have given up. I think about how my front hallway has seen better days because of winter, right? So there's like leftover rock salt and all of the winter boots and the coats and the cobwebs and the leaves that came through. And I needed to really like mop it and vacuum it. I couldn't bring myself to even care. I couldn't bring myself to even care about it. I finally did it last night, 45 minutes. In that 45 minutes, it included the front hallway, mopping the hallway of my home, as well as cleaning the entire living room. So honestly, the thing I was putting off was maybe 20 minutes of that. And I couldn't bring myself to do it because I was like, it's not going to look the way I really want it to. Anyways, the weather is still not meh. If it was my coffee, I would have done it. I would have done it 10 times over by this point. So what and why is it that we can see where the value is held? In my last episode, I talked about time and how, you know, if I'm doing something, I'm not getting paid for it. Why am I doing it? Somebody made a really good point. Bianca made a really good point in the comment section and was just like, because you like it. You like it, point blank. Doing a hobby with no outcome, with no guaranteed success is okay. Sometimes you do it just for yourself. And it really did put things, I was like, that's a good way to look at it. I didn't mean for that point to come off like that I'm never going to do anything unless I get paid for it. But it does change the way your brain thinks. It's like, if I like to sit here and do this with you, I can. I don't need to make money from it. If I like to make my own coffee, I can. And cool, that's great. I did it. I completed a task, and it could be good, it could be bad, but I don't need to have it make money. I can sit here all day long and tell you that like, you need to do this and you need to do that. I have so much of this advice that I could give that I should take myself, and I won't. I know myself, and I know that it's easier said than done. But truly, thinking about how crazy it is that I give my coffee such I give my coffee such slack and myself so little. It's just crazy. There are things that are worth it in our lives, but most of them come with hard work, repetition, and learning about it. Learning what you like, what other people like, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And it's just as important in every aspect, not just what you're eating or putting into your body, but how you're working and who you're working with, the people in your lives. Think about, this is a good one. This might actually negate what I've been saying, but like think about a person in your life, someone who has repeatedly let you down and makes it impossible for you to be happy with them. Why do you keep letting them come back into your life? Who are they to you? What do they offer you? Because if my coffee came back the wrong color too many times, you would either complain or never go back. So why are you going back to that person who's not being the correct color for you? Again, this is a little bit far-fetched, but if I were to sit here and think about, like, if I held everybody to the standard of my coffee, then I make it good enough for myself a majority of the time where that one bad day, that one bad coffee does not change the relationship. If it was repeatedly bad, I mean, I would probably start looking at the coffee machine or the brand of coffee I was drinking, or I would start, second guessing things. Maybe it's the cup. Maybe it's the creamer. Is the creamer, is it expired? Like what is it about this right now that is making it so impossible? And maybe we should keep doing that with like everything else in our lives. If we are so adamant that something is meant to be in our lives, in a routine, and it's not working out, I always think that you can have a couple bad days. Nobody can be perfect and on top of things all the time. It's not possible. You are going to let people down, and it might be intentional. It might not be. I recently just didn't do a task and that somebody had asked me to do, and I feel terrible about it. Fell right off my radar, and I can't take it back. I can't go back in time. I have disappointed that person. And that's that. Like I can't, they now have that story to tell people if they talk about me or if there's a conversation about me saying, well, when I asked her to do that, she didn't get that done. And that kills me. But does that negate all the other good things I'd done in the time frame where that fell off? Well, no, it shouldn't. But that one is like really big. Like that one's like really important in the forefront of my brain right now. And I don't do that with coffee. So why am I doing that with something that is so small in the grand scheme of the things that are so big? I don't know. It's a great question. This does seem a little bit like Carrie Bradshaw, like, and just like that, my morning coffee means more than my heart beating or something. But I mean, I really don't want people to sit there and think that there's like only one right way to do life, because there's not. And there's going to be times where it doesn't work out. There's going to be times where it's not as good. And we can get through it. We can get around it. We will have to deal with it at some point. But it shouldn't completely take you down. I think ultimately that's what I really thought about when it came to coffee, is that I give it so many chances, because honestly, it only really lets me down a couple times. It's never anything too crazy. I work hard to make it so that I don't run out of coffee. I've got the right materials, and that's because I know that I can depend on it. And if other people can depend on you, there's going to come a time where you don't have enough gas left in your system. You don't have the ability to keep on going. You need a night to yourself. You need a night out. You need this. You need that. Whatever it is, you have to realize that that's okay. And tomorrow's a new day. And if you are a coffee drinker like I am, and you can relate to this, and you're like, wow, I really do give my coffee a lot more leeway. I give my coffee so many more chances. Why are you not doing that for yourself? I mean, I say that, and I'm the meanest person to myself that I know. So I'm not saying I have had this realization years ago and I've been living this way. No. I was just thinking about it because as I talk to people about slowing down or figuring out who you are, what you want to do, or how you want to spend your life, that was just slowing down is so important to me right now. And I get mad at myself when I don't say no, or I continue to do something even though I said I wasn't going to. And there's always a new day. There's always a new opportunity to say no. There's always a new opportunity to show up when I needed to or realize that I don't have to. I don't know. I just think that if we're about to go into summer and life is about to get a whole lot busier, and there's going to be a lot more opportunities for get-togethers or missed chances of meeting up or whatever it is. Don't make it so that the only thing that you can do is focus in on that one bad thing, because they're going to happen. 100% they're going to happen. But the good news is you have a whole nother chance with a whole new cup of coffee the next morning. Some of you might think that this episode is crazy, and I would have to agree, but this is what's on my brain. And as I drive to and from work, I've got a 30-minute commute, so that's been different. And when I tell you I'm talking to myself in my car about these crazy things, I'm talking about them in the car with crazy things. So let me know. Do you agree? Do you give yourself more credit than you should? Or do you not give yourself enough credit? Think about your coffee, man. If you still finish that iced cup of coffee because it really wasn't that bad, it just wasn't as good as you'd like, hello. Maybe you should be doing the same thing for yourself. I love you. I mean it. I'll see you in 2 weeks.